Something that is not being talked about that is very key and critical to what's getting ready to take place in 2026. In early October, there was like a significant length of California's coast that basically elevated by 6 feet overnight. Now, there was no signs, there was no earthquake, nothing. It just literally on the coastlines, it elevated randomly. In the last 3 days, there's been several minor, what we call minor, earthquakes in the South Bay. Now, there was three that hit back to back. The first one was 2.7 magnitude. The second one was 3.9. And then you had a 4.3. And they're saying it was in the South County area. There has been a huge uptick of earthquakes now on the Madrid fault line, South California and Alaska area. So a lot of what is going on, there is tons of earthquakes, of volcanoes that are erupting, and not just regular volcanoes, but volcanoes are waking up for centuries and years that have not been erupting at all. Something interesting to note is back in early October as well, there was evidence of the two of the fault lines that they're basically in sync, and that's the San Andreas fault line and the Cascadia subduction zone, right? And that's off the coast of Oregon and Washington. What they're saying is, depending on activity, they can set off each other, which can be very critical and key. The earthquake swarms, it was striking California for basically 3 days, sparking the fears of the great big one, of course. And each one, there was three minor ones, but they were set off within 3 minutes of one another. I gotta get to my point, but this outbreak of seismic activity that we see that is taking place in California, there has been tons of them. You really got to pay attention and watch. But it has been taking place basically along a network of the fault lines in California, all connecting to the Andreas fault line. And they're saying they have a fear of what took place in 1906 for it to really erupt. Now, take away the physicalness of what I just said, everything that I just said with what is happening with these earthquakes, and no major media is literally talking about this. What we're seeing, the outbreak of the small, and I always go back to the Bible, because the Bible, literally God has used the earth and the things of the earth, disasters and things, to speak to the world. He's done it in the Bible, and it's symbolic, sending floods, rainbows, things of that nature, where God uses nature to really speak to the earth and the people of the earth. I said all that to say that this is very symbolic to what we're getting ready to see in 2026. And when we see small seismic activities, these are small little, it's like small fires being put out, small fires being lit and then put out, lit, being put out, getting ready for the Big Bang, okay? There has been several prophecies of the San Andreas fault line, Madrid fault line, that people have prophesied this. We know that it's coming, especially in the spirit realm. We can see, we know, in the natural, everything is lining up. What I am saying is, in the hours to come, which is 2026, we are going to see disastrous times. And I told you that once the Lord released me to speak about 2026, I will. I'm in prayer about it. But this is very symbolic to what we are going into, the year that we're getting ready to come into. What we see, the activity of the earth, is extremely symbolic to 2026. What we've seen in 2025 is what we see that is happening with the volcanoes, with the earthquakes. These are the setup of the small events that are leading up to 2026 to what is going to manifest physically. And I wholeheartedly believe that even with these volcanoes, there is something that is aligning with the volcanoes and and I'm not even a weather person, but I know what I sense in the spirit. What God is showing me is the volcanoes is directly, what's happening with the activity is directly aligned to what we are seeing with these earthquakes that are happening all over in California and the East Coast. Politically in 2026, we're going to see a huge storm that is going to erupt, that is going to happen. And that's why the earth, the Bible speaks of the earth begins to groan. That is what we are seeing literally take place, is the groaning of the earth. The earth is shifting into place because of what is coming in the atmosphere and the spiritual realm of things. The Lord doesn't want to have us in shockery by what is coming. So he sends signs and he sends things our way so we are aware in the spirit. Because remember, we can't see the spiritual realm, but we can only discern what is in the spirit through Jesus. But there is a bigger storm that is brewing, that is getting ready to hit. And when it manifests in the physical realm, we're going to know that it's happening. And this is leading up into 2026. And that is what God is saying for this hour. A lot of times we keep looking in the natural realm, these fault lines and things of that nature, which is the result of what happened in the spirit. But please understand that God is getting ready to shift. The world is shifting, and that's why we're seeing this shift that is taking place. There is a huge shift that is getting ready to take place in 2026. Be very prayerful. This is time to seek God and seek him in your quiet time. This is a walk of solitude with Jesus in this hour. So he is able to open our eyes so we can see clearly through the eyes of Jesus.